Hi guys, are you having a problem regarding negative numbers, or are you guys having a difficulty or are confused in solving different mathematical problems regarding negative numbers? Well, we're going to tackle about that. Just make sure you keep subscribing and keep following my channel and my page for more of my math magic videos. Let's start. Hi guys, I'm Aaron Racer for Math Magic, and today we're going to tackle about negative numbers. So what are negative numbers? Negative numbers are numbers that are below zero or are smaller than zero. These numbers, like positive numbers, are infinite. They are endless. So these numbers are -1, -2, -3, -4, -1, 4, -5, and so on. These numbers are also used and are being applied everywhere. We also use them in temperature. So you can hear that, for example, in a place like North California, it's -2 degrees Celsius. That means it is very cold. It is colder compared to 0 degrees Celsius. And also, like positive numbers, they're also used in different mathematical problems. You can add, subtract, multiply, and divide with negative numbers. You can divide both negative numbers or even a negative mixed with a positive integer or number. So today we're not just going to tackle about understanding the definition of negative numbers, but we're even going to tackle about how to solve them properly without getting confused with it. So right now I have here a math problem. Now all we have to do is just to solve for the answer. Now as you can see, I have made representations right here. Something that would represent these numbers, but these are not just representations. They're called algebra disks. Now an algebra disk, like a coin, it has both a head and a tail. The head is the positive side of the algebra disk, while the tail is the negative side of the algebra disk. Now, as you line up these algebra disks so that you can represent these numbers, now all we have to do is just to cancel a pair of a negative disk and a positive disk. Because canceling them means that this is equivalent to 0. Because a pair of these means that -1 plus +1 is equal to 0. So we cancel them because we no longer need them, and the ones that are left behind are the ones that doesn't have a pair, and also will be our answer for this math problem. As a rule, we can say that a math problem that involves a negative integer added to a positive integer will give us an answer wherein that answer must be following the sign of the highest number. Now, this disk that you can see here inside the box is going to be our answer since they don't have a pair. Since they are 2, this means that our answer will be +2. And this is going to be our answer for -3 plus 5. Now we're going to use more of this algebra disk as we go on with more math problems and with more videos as well. So right now I have here a problem that involves fraction. Now we will just do the same thing, but this time I used a set of positive and negative 5s. Well, it's just the same thing, just to ease up the process. There's actually a huge time saver if you're going to use algebra disk, like me. Now, same thing, cancel a pair of positive and -5, and then what is left is the one that doesn't have a pair. And these are -5s, -10. Like what I said a while ago, your answer for a math problem that involves a negative and a positive integer, you should follow the sign of the highest number. So our answer is -10. Now, what is not advisable for an algebra disk process? This one. If you're going to see, there's +2 and -5. Well, these are actually used also in the same question, but this is not advisable because if you're going to see, you will not even cancel them because there is still a value in them, and that is -3. -3, and then this one is +1, -5, and that will give you an answer of -4. So just add them, and it will give you the same answer, but it would make the process confusing because what if you're in the midst of an exam, and then sometimes there's a tendency that you do not know what you're doing, so there'll be a possibility that you might cancel them and your answer will be wrong. And another thing, another non-advisable thing to do is to do this one. With problem like 2 minus 5, you'll use 2 coins that are positive and 1 coin that is negative 5. Well, you're just going to answer this negative 4, you're not going to cancel them. And then negative 4 plus positive 1, that'll give you an answer of negative 3. So these things are not advisable for you to do. And now what are going to recognize? What have you recognized from these examples? If you would see, if I would refer to you for an example, you would see that if you would invert negative 3 and 5 and make them 5 minus 3, they're just the same. But since we are talking about negative numbers, we have to invert them, make it negative 3 plus 5. Although they will give you the same answer, just like this one. I'll make this negative 15 plus 5, but it will still make you give a negative number. Now the next problem involves a multiplication, and then after that we proceed with division. So now we have multiplication. So if you're going to see, we use a dot instead of a multiplication sign to represent multiplication. Why? Because in the older levels, the reason why we use a dot is because if you're going to use a multiplication sign just to multiply x and y, it would seem very confusing because x is the same thing as a multiplication sign. So it would be better if we're going to use a dot to represent multiplication, to multiply x and y. That's the same thing that we're going to do here now. So now, to read negative 5 multiplied by 6, if we're going to use algebra this, all you have to do is just to make it the negative of 5 groups of 6. So we represent positive 6 as 2 coins of positive 3, I mean. And then we put them inside a box that has a triangle with a negative sign. That triangle means distributive property, which we would interpret negative 5 times 6, wherein you have to distribute that negative 5 here inside that parenthesis. So with getting that negative sign here, that means we're going to get a negative answer. So in the way of the algebra disk, we would flip and not distribute. Though they mean the same thing, since we're using algebra disk, we're going to flip them instead of distributing them. Now we would just put all of these groups all together in just one box, which has all negative 3's in it. All these positive 3's when flipped will show an answer of negative 3's. You add all of them, recount all of them, and you'll get an answer of negative 30. So that's it. So we have certain rules that we have to follow when we are multiplying a negative integer to a positive integer, or positive to positive, negative to negative. So a positive integer multiplied by a positive integer will give you an answer of positive integer also. A positive multiplied by negative will give you an answer of negative. Negative times positive is negative. And negative times negative will give you an answer of positive. Why? Because of the distributive property that we applied again here, or the flipping of the coin. So it will give you an answer of positive integer. Alright, so now we have division. 10 divided by negative 2 is what? Now, I used 10 positive algebra disk to represent positive 10. And to make it become divided by negative 2, I drew rectangles, which would make 5 rectangles. And why is this still here? Isn't this only for multiplication? No. We are still applying the distributive property because we still have to distribute this sign here because of the rule which says that a positive integer divided by a negative integer is making you have a negative integer also. So that's what we have to follow. And so we have to use the distributive property here. So we have to draw triangles. And so then we have to flip these ones, and we are going to have an answer of negative. So our answer for 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. And so here are the rules for dividing integers. They are just the same, like the multiplication a while ago. The only difference is that is division. And same explanation to this last rule. There are also certain things you have to be aware of, such as this one. -6 plus -6 equals -12, and -6 minus 6 equals -12. They're actually the same, but don't get tricked by this addition sign right here, because this one makes this math problem very confusing. So all you have to do is just to distribute this positive sign here inside the parenthesis, which has a negative sign, then it will become negative. So -6 minus 6 is -12. Don't get tricked by the addition sign. Always remember that. And so we have here -6 plus 6 equals 0, so all you have to do is just cancel that. 7 minus -6, distribute the minus sign here, and then we would it would become positive, and so 7 plus 6 equals 13. And then this one, -15 times 10 equals -150. Well, how about this one? -2 multiplied by the quantity of x plus 4. The question is, can I be able to make this be performed by or explained by algebra this? Well, the answer is yes. But how are we going to do that? That's what we're going to find out in the next episode of Math Magic. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed my video and this lesson as well. I hope that you guys are going to follow more about my next episodes regarding this one and more lessons about math. So the only thing here is that you don't have to be confused here, because there are some hidden things in math that you just have to discover just for you to find. And if we're able to find it, I mean, your head's going to be bursting in wonder. So again, this is Aaron Racer telling you to stay safe and keep following Math Magic. Hi guys, let me know about your own math problem involving negative numbers and indicate a solution in them. And also, if you have any questions or suggestions for me to make some Math Magic videos, then please do so right now in the comments below. And also, please share the video and like it too. And follow the page and subscribe if you're watching YouTube. See you again in another episode of Math Magic.